Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farming Simulator 19 here on the Hagenstedt map. Let's get back to reliving the glory days. We're also going to have to manage our finances fairly well in order to be able to do that. Either that, or we're going to have to take out one colossal loan in order to be able to cover it all. There's a lot of small machinery, I'm guessing, so we shouldn't be too bad to do that. I know that I'm at the 80,000 litres of straw, but there's not very much left in the field here, so I figured I'd just gather the whole lot. That'll save us coming up here with the baler and messing around. We can just keep going with this one. So, there we have it. We have now finished all of the straw. That means that we've got plenty in storage for our cows. They've also completely maxed out on what they've got anyway, so we should be good to go as far as cows are concerned. We've got over 400 of them now. I wonder if we can actually hit 1,000 cows before we finish. By my calculations, we've got, I think, maybe 7 episodes left, including this one. One that I'm chatting to you in right now. It might be 8. I don't think it's 6. I don't think we've done enough to have gone up to 6 yet. So, yeah, I think that we're getting there anyway. We haven't got a lot left, but in 7 episodes, can I get all the way up to 1,000 cows? I don't know. We're halfway there now, and the first half is always much more difficult than the second half. It's like becoming a multi-millionaire. Let me just have some coffee a sec. If you want to get £100 million in your bank account, or $100 million, whatever, whichever, getting the first million is considerably more difficult than getting the remaining 99 million. If you want to become a billionaire, getting the million is a lot more difficult than getting the remaining 999 million. It's that first bit where you're sort of going from nothing to the first milestone for really substantial amounts. And yes, apparently it is... Don't quote me on this. I'm not speaking from personal experience on this one. Unfortunately, I don't really know the ins and outs of making £1 billion, or $1 billion, or €1 billion, whichever one you want to talk about. I just remember reading somewhere that the first million is the hardest one to make. After that, it gets easy. So let's just move this tractor out of the way while that combine is still doing some stuff. And... anything. Then I'm not going to worry about starting to do the rowing up for a second. I'm going to go and get the baler. We'll get some seed drills going in the fields as well and start working on those. And then this bit here, what we might have to do is go and buy another field. We may have to get another grass field to be able to cope with feeding 1,000 cows. We're halfway there, and the food is no longer at maximum. We've had food way over what the maximum normal allowed would be, but because of how we got our feed system set up where it automatically puts it into the food trough, it makes no difference to it whatsoever. It just dumps it all in there. There is no limit. Now, this is kind of good and kind of bad. I can't lower that one down unless I unfold it, which I really don't like. It's something that I particularly dislike. So let's go this way. The combine is doing an absolutely fantastic job. So you can keep going there. And I will go to the Valtra S374. I will pull out. And we will change to canola, like that. And yes, I did pick up all of the crop, didn't I? Right. So we'll have this one here, and we will go and start in the field down this way, planting canola. We've got fertilizer, we've got canola in there, so we can leave those running. and then I will jump straight to the next one, and I'll put that one going in the second field. I'm actually going to do a bit top and bottom on the second field. This one here, what I'm going to try and do is simply just put it going and leave it. I'm just going to abandon it. And we'll see how well he copes with things. And then we can go along and we can tidy up afterwards if that's what we need to do. But if we'll put it into here and we will just abandon it. So I'll help it out by starting up the first line right there. And then I'm going to press H, and I'm not going to do anything else. So then I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to do pretty much the same thing, except it's going to be in a different field. So I'm going to bring you over this way. This one, however, I'm not going to just completely abandon it. I'm going to be a little bit nice to it. I'm going to help it out by doing a bit up here. So we'll unfold it as we go whizzing up across, and I will do a single pass along the top end of the field. Purely because he does seem to get a little bit hung up on the top end of the field up here. I'm really looking forward to finding out how the hired help works in the next one. It looks like from the pictures of maps that I've seen that we're still going for square fields. So I suspect that we won't have the functionality of the AI vehicle extension where the AI can actually go round the field. I suspect that it will still be working up and down the field rather than being able to do any headlands, which is a little disappointing. This is one thing above all others that I've been hoping for. Well, actually, this is probably second or third on the list, let's be honest. There's a lot of things that I can say I've really been hoping for. That one was one in particular. The other one that I've really been hoping for is some kind of auto-load script built into the base game. I know that I will eventually get auto-load, and so for me it's not really too much of an issue, although it would be nice to have auto-load straight from the start. But for the console players, it makes such a difference, and I've never played this game on console, and I probably never will. However, I do love the fact that it could be a lot more inclusive if the console players got to have that auto-load, and you got to experience that, the beauty of the auto-load. It's amazing. Auto-load really does make a difference. It is absolutely wonderful. So I'm really hoping, there's no indication at the moment as to whether there is going to be anything like that or not. So I'm really hoping that there will be auto-load, because it also will make life easier for me. I don't have to then go and rely on finding the right scripts and mods and stuff in order to make that work for me. And okay, I am going to this one, and I'm going to get my baler going. Actually, I'm not going to get the baler going yet. I'm still going to use this one, but I'm going to go and start doing the raking. Because we've got lots of raking that we can go and do, and the combine is still busy. So, yeah, it would be really cool for me, because then I get to use the auto-load right from the start. And there's a lot now with the processes and stuff, the factories that you can make and stuff like that, which basically means that we've got the ability in this game to be moving a lot of pallets around. Now, I don't particularly want to be loading lots of pallets manually. I want some way to automate that process, because I don't like handling pallets in-game. Right? I can do it, it takes time, but I really don't enjoy it very much at all. So I really want auto-load for pallets. Now, I have absolutely no doubt that auto-load for pallets will come pretty quickly. It won't take long for us to get some form of auto-load script so that we can be loading our pallets auto-magically, but it won't be there right from the start. And I want it to be. Long story short, I really want it to be there right from the start. I think it should be. I think that we should have this in the base game. I've always felt that we should have auto-load in the base game. I think it would be an absolutely wonderful addition to the gameplay, and it can only improve things. But, yeah, again, it's one of those things that I'm not really going to hold my breath for. Now, we just had someone say that we have finished. Is that the combine? It is, except that the combine hasn't actually finished. What it has done is left an obscenely large pile of crop right there, which we don't really want. It's also missed that obscenely small pile of crop right there. So I will grab that bit, and then I will race up through here. I'm gonna get out like that in the hope that maybe... You know what? I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. That was actually combining something then. Yeah, it was. There was a little tiny strip there that was so small you could barely see it. So I'm going to go here. And I'm going to press H on there. So a little tiny thin strip there. And we'll see how that bit gets on. So I want to go to you. And then we want to turn around. It's going to kind of throw things around a bit with the rake. That's fine. We can live with that. Now go there. I'm thinking that would actually reach that whole width in one pass. It probably would have done. Never mind. Let's not worry about that. So I'm going to go on around here. So, yeah, I don't think that we'll get an auto-load, at least not built in-game. I am hopeful that there will be something that will allow us to pick up the pallets without having to rely on pallet forks. I'm still hoping for that. We haven't had it yet in-game. We haven't had any kind of... we have with the bales, like you got the round bale and the square bale, the bale collectors. Both versions have had bale collectors where we can go in and you just drive round and you can pick up the bales without having to have anything extra. And for me, that is something that is absolutely wonderful. I love those bale collectors. They are an essential part of gameplay for me. And I use them frequently. It means that I don't have to go and pick up the bales in the fields. I can just leave them as they... I don't have to go and pick them up using a telehandler or a front loader or anything like that. I can just go and use the Artisan stacker instead, and it's so much easier. Isn't it so much easier to go and use one of those? It is, isn't it? Don't you... I mean, I know that there's going to be some of you that prefer to do the whole job by hand, but I'm not one of those people. I just don't enjoy it like that. So, yeah, for me, using the Artisan stacker is absolutely wonderful. I think it's an amazing and absolutely wonderful, amazing bit of kit, and baling is just not the same without it. So, with that one, yeah, that's absolutely great. But are we going to have anything like that for pallets? Does anything like that actually exist in real life with pallets? That's what I want to know, because obviously if nothing like that exists in real life, they're not going to add one into the game. I'm sure there must be. There must be some kind of trailer that self-loads pallets. Yeah, doesn't sound very likely though, does it? Like, bales, yes, you can see how that would work, but pallets? Yeah, I can't really see that happening. I mean, maybe there'd be something if the pallets were laid out in a set configuration, and yeah, it could come along and automate the process, but honestly, I don't really think, I can't really see how that would work. Is there anything like that? If you know of any kind of vehicle like that, any kind of piece of machinery like that, in any way, shape, or form, let me know. I want to know. Get in the comments section. Tell me, do we have any kind of automated pallet picker-upper machinery doodah that removes the need to be using a forklift? I don't think there is. I think forklifts are the way to go with it. And we've already seen that there are forklifts in the game. There is at least one Young Heinrich forklift. I don't know if there's any others at the moment. The Young Heinrich ones, there's actually a type that I used to drive in the factory that I used to work in. So I've had personal experience driving those things, and I actually quite liked them. I did actually rather like those. That they were a pleasant machine to drive. They were rather good. Quite reliable as well. It was quite funny that the The person who came round to do the servicing, he wasn't well, one of the times, he wasn't the normal guy that came to do the servicing in the factory, and the factory ran 24/7. So you finish your 12-hour shift, and then the next person comes along and he takes over. So he does a full check on the machine, and then he hops on it and he drives it for 12 hours. And this keeps going. And so the bloke came round after however long to do the service, and looked at the hour counter and said, oh, well, that's broken, we'll have to get a new hour counter. And the bloke who was supposed to be driving it had to pause in order for this check to be done. Was like, what do you mean it's broken? He said, well, it's saying X amount of 1,000 hours. That's not possible. You've only had the machines here for this amount of time. And the guy was like, yeah, that's right. Have a look at the book. And this workman, he had a look through the book, and he could not believe it. He genuinely thought that either we were faking the figures, or there was a serious fault with the clock, because it was ticking up in basically 24 hours every 24 hours, and he could not get his head round this. It just didn't make any sense to him, because it was literally the forklifts would run for 24 hours a day, and the person on the forklift, he wouldn't just go and stop when he went for his break. There was somebody whose job it was basically he was still a forklift driver, but he wasn't assigned a forklift. He would hop on to the forklift that the other drivers were using. So he would go along and he'd say, right, you've got 30 minutes to go and have your dinner, and then he would jump onto that forklift and he would drive that one around for 30 minutes. And then when the forklift driver came back, he would go on to the next one and say, right, now you got 30 minutes. And then he would drive his forklift for 30 minutes. So the forklifts kept going. They never stopped. And the factory that's how all of the jobs worked in the factory. Like, none of the machines, you didn't stop any machine to go and have your dinner or anything like that. Your relief would come along and he would let you out for your lunch. So there was no stopping. There was no stopping, not for anything. You didn't stop. It didn't matter if you were ill. It didn't matter if you were rushed to hospital. The machinery didn't stop. If you were rushed to hospital, someone else would step in and take your place. You were replaceable. The machinery was not. That was the message that was always drummed into us. You are replaceable. You are a cog in the system, and you are a very unimportant cog, and you cost a lot less to replace than the machinery does, so treat the machinery with respect. Okay, didn't quite word it like that, but many of you have worked in these kinds of places, and many of you know the exact vibe that is given off by management. They put up, if management feel the need to put signs up everywhere to say that we value you, you employees are important to us, we don't think that machinery is more important than you. Anytime a workplace needs to put up a sign saying we don't think the machinery is more important than you, you can be absolutely certain that the one thing that management thinks is that the machinery is more important than you. If they feel the need to clarify that that's not what they think, then you can be absolutely certain that that is actually what they think. Company policy. Let's tell the workforce that we don't think that they are less important than the machines they're running. And that way, they won't know that they are less important than the machines that they are running. You can almost see the boardroom meetings. Am I coming across as a little bit cynical? I might be. I will admit I may be coming across as a little bit cynical there. But anyway, how did I get onto this? We were talking about forklifts. How did I even get to this? So, yeah, I have driven those forklifts before, the young Heinrich ones that are coming into the game, and they are actually pretty good forklifts. They're quite reliable. If you cane one to within an inch of its life for, I don't know, 10,000 hours, it still performs fairly well, and that speaks quite highly of the young Heinrich forklift brand. I would say. I'd say that does speak reasonably highly of the machines. Now then, what else are we going to be getting? We've got a few new crops. We've got this sorghum coming into the game, and There was something, I seen a post about the sorghum, which was something to do with the way that it's harvested, I think. It uses a stripper header rather than a standard header, so that it strips the grain off rather than cutting all of it. And one of the alterations that Giants recently announced was that they would be just removing the grain from the head. So I don't know if that means that they're simply just going to be done with a different texture so that you're left with a longer straw in the field for the sorghum, or if that means that we are actually going to be having stripper headers in the game. Now, if it means that we're going to be having access to stripper headers, I think that's really awesome. I think that's absolutely fine, because that's not something we've seen before. That is an entirely brand shiny, spanking new mechanic added to the game, where we will be able to see a stripper header actually working. For those of you who don't know what a stripper header is, you have the header, and instead of it having knives cutting at a low level and chopping everything off, let's put these two in together now, shall we? Chopping everything off and then dumping a load of straw out the back of the combine, what it has sort of fingers that the straw slips between. So you got the straw of the crop. I wonder if I can just, I could probably show. If we look on here, look, see, we've got this right here. So instead of it cutting off down there, the fingers go either side of the stalk right there. You can see that we've got the stalk. Let's go in a little bit closer. There we go. That's better. They would go either. Ignore the fact that this isn't actually a combinable crop. The fingers go either side of the crop right there, and they lift, and it pulls and strips all of the crop off of the main stalk, and it leaves the straw standing in the field, and it just harvests the top bit. The advantage of doing this is that you've got a lot less excess material going into the combine as you're traveling across the field. And that means that you're able to go a lot faster than you can with a regular header. Now, I don't know how much faster. I've never used one. I've never seen one being used, and I've only ever seen I haven't even seen a YouTube video of a stripper header being used. I know they exist. I know the theory behind them, and I've seen some pictures of a stripper header at work. So I know the theory behind it, but I don't know anything else about them. So if anybody does actually know a bit about these, rather than me and just my sort of guesswork based on a few pictures and descriptions, please let us know in the comments section. Are they as good as I have been led to believe? As I understand it, a stripper header is an absolutely amazing thing if you don't want the straw. Now, if you're after straw, if you do want the straw for your field, for whatever it is that you're doing, yeah, a stripper header is not going to do you any good at all, because it leaves the straw standing in the field. But, yeah, so you're not going to, it's not really a valid option for you. If you want the straw, then that's not really going to be something you're going to go and do, is it? If you're not after the straw, if you're not interested in that, and you are doing your work so that you get the crop rather than the straw itself, then I believe stripper headers are the answer, because it goes a lot faster. You strip everything off a lot quicker, and then you get more material left behind in the field, which, as you don't want to be taking this out of the field anyway, that can be incorporated back into the soil. I mean, yes, these days with combines, it's not really much of an issue, because, you know, if you harvest it with the combine, you just turn on the chopper on the back of the combine and you do it that way. But the downside of that, and the advantage of the stripper header, is that the straw chopper, it's putting more material through the combine. It's wearing the combine out faster. The combine works slower by doing it. It uses more fuel, more power to do all of that, and it still needs to, like, chop everything up. So as far as the combine is concerned, having the stripper header is a huge benefit, because there's a lot less expense. There's a lot less strain and stress put onto the machine, so ultimately the combine will have a longer shelf life than it would if you weren't using this header. The other side of the coin is that you've got all this long straw that's left in the field. You then need to do something with it before you can start ploughing. You can, if you're doing direct drilling, you can go over the field before you start drilling with a set of discs. And discs you can run over the field very quickly. It doesn't take very long to cover a field with a set of discs, and that will cut up the straw sufficiently so that you could then go and do your planting. Some types of direct drill, now again, I'm not 100% certain on this because I've had limited experience with direct drilling. I've done some, and the direct drilling that I was involved with, I worked on a farm that had long, we cut everything because we took all the straw off the field, and we baled it all and we took it all off the field because we used it for our cattle. So that's the only field that I've ever been in, that's the only farm I've been involved in that does direct drilling, and then I did get involved a little bit with contract direct drilling as well, but that was for farms that worked on the same principle. So I don't actually know very much about how the direct drill is affected by the long straw being left in the field. Now, imagine if the long straw that was left in the field was lying down flat, it would be a problem. But I imagine that if the straw was lying down flat, that's also going to be a bit of a problem for the combine and the stripper header in the first place. Like, picking that up, I would imagine, would be a bit more difficult than with one of these regular headers. So, again, a bit of a mystery to me. I'm not quite sure how that would work. So if anybody's able to explain that, that would be really cool. At a guess, I would say that for a direct drill, you would want to have that straw cut up, at least chopped, at least reduced in quantity somewhat, so that it's not getting ripped out by the coulters on the direct drill and causing you problems. I would guess that it would cause you problems, so you would need to do something to cut it up. I mean, maybe there's direct drill designs that wouldn't have issues with it. It could very well be. There's all kinds of different machines available now, so I'm guessing that there are direct drill designs that would maybe have disc coulters. In front of the coulters, you got discs that would cut, and so they would actually remove any issues that might arise. That would be my guess. This is weird. We did this last time. Alright, we got that little strip down the side of the field where it's not quite planted everything properly. I've also got a bit of a mess over here, so we'll run over to this side. Unfortunately, folks, that is all we have got time for today. A massive thank you to everybody who has earned their way into the Great Book of Names. To find out some more details about all the names coming past, please head into the description and click on the link to the Discord. It's a link to another video. The link is on the other video. Please also consider checking out the links there for Nitrado, who provide gaming servers for games like Farming Simulator, Minecraft, Ark, and several others. And there's also Fanatical, who will help support your gaming habit by providing you with cheap games and also giving me a small commission on anything that you buy using my link. If you've enjoyed this particular video, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.